everyone, here is my book for this week. It is called Poles Apart, and if you have a look, we've got the polar bear here and the penguins here. So what do you think this story might be about? Let's read and see, shall we? I really like this story. Do some good listening. I'll show you the pictures first of all. Have a little talk to a grown-up about what you can see happening in the pictures. Where do you think it might be set? What are the main characters? As everyone knows, penguins are found at the South Pole and never at the North Pole. At least not until the day the Pilchard Browns got lost on their way to a picnic. Mr. Pilchard Brown was in charge of the map. He told everyone to turn right at the snowman, which was wrong. Now here they all were on the other side of the world, Mr. and Mrs. Pilchard Brown, Peaky, Poots and Pog, drifting towards an enormous furry white... Have a little look at the pictures. So they're drifting towards an enormous furry white something. What is that something? Have a look in that picture. Is it a lion? Is it a lion? Is it a tiger? Asked Peaky and Poots. Is it a picnic blanket? Asked Pog. The enormous something looked them up and down. He had never seen anything like the Pilchard Browns before. I'm Mr. White, he said. I'm a polar bear. And you are? Parrots, said Peaky and Poots. Pork pies, said Pog. Are there parrots or pork pies? We're penguins, said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. So there's the penguin family, the Pilchard Browns. And there is Mr. White, the polar bear. So remember, the Pilchard Browns have gone on a little explore and they have got a little bit lost. Actually, not a little bit, a very big bit, I would say. What are you doing here? Wondered Mr. White. This is where polar bears live, not penguins. We're going to a picnic at the South Pole, said Pog. This is the North Pole, my friend, said Mr. White. The South Pole is 12,430 miles that way. So they've got lost 12,430 miles. Oh my gosh. So I was a few miles out, shrugged Mr. Pilchard Brown. Anyone can make a mistake. Don't think of it as a mistake, said Mr. White. Think of it as a big adventure. I often dreamt of being the first polar bear to reach the South Pole. Here he is, look, talking to the penguins. Mummy says we should always follow our dreams, said Peaky. Daddy says we should always follow him, said Poots. Lead the way, Mr. White, said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. So here they are. The penguins have got lost and they have ended up at the North Pole, at the top of the world, and they are meeting the polar bears. The penguins followed Mr. White over land and sea. Eek, said Peaky. Whoa, said Poots. Can we have our picnic now, said Pog. But it wasn't the best spot, so they followed Mr. White. Wow, what can they see in those waters? Can you tell me what kind of animal that is? With their fins sticking up out of the sea and their big sharp teeth? That's right, they are sharks. So they followed Mr. White all the way to America. Have a little look. These are the pictures of them arriving in America, and there they are, look, Mr. White and the penguins walking along. Howdy, said Mr. Pilchard Brown. Busy, said Peaky. Buzzing, said Poots. Can we have our picnic, said Pog. Not now, dear, said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. Do you think little Pog is a bit hungry? America was awesome, but it wasn't home, so they followed Mr. White all the way to, let's see where they end up. Where do you think they are? I'm going to show you the pictures. It's rainy. There's a red phone box. There's a big red bus and a building in the background that tells the time. There's a huge big wheel. Can anybody guess where that is? It's London. So they follow Mr. Bear all the way to England. England is where we live. This is our capital city called London. How do you do, said Mr. Pilchard Brown. Grey, said Peaky. Grand, said Poots. What do you think little Pog said? Can we have our picnic? And what did Mummy say? Not now, dear. England was charming, but it wasn't home, so they followed Mr. White all the way to... which country might they go to now? Italy. Have a little look at the pictures. Have a little look. They are in Italy. Let's see what they can spot. Ciao, said Mr. Pilchard Brown. Ciao is the way that you say hello in Italian. Wet, said Peaky, because of all the water and the streams. Wonderful, said Poots. Italy was magnifico, that means magnificent, but it wasn't home. So they followed Mr. White all the way to... Have a little look at this page. See if you can guess. I'll try and zoom in on some of the pictures. Some of you might recognise that special temple in the background. Let's see if you've guessed right. India! They've gone all the way to India. Namaste, said Mr. Pilchard Brown. Hot, said Peaky. Huge, said Poots. What did Pog say, do you think? Can we have our picnic? Put the python down, dear, said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. India was dazzling, but it wasn't home. So they followed Mr. White all the way to Australia. Have a look at the pictures of Australia. Wow, that looks cool. Good day, said Mr. Pilchard Brown. Faster, said Peaky. Fun, said Poots. Can we have our picnic now, said Pog. Soon, said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. Australia was bonza, but it still wasn't home, so they followed Mr. White. What kind of transport are they on now? It's a speedboat. They're speeding off through the waters in Australia. Oh, I wonder where they might go next. So they followed Mr. White. They followed him over the land and over the sea. On and on they went. But of all the wonderful places in the world, there was no place like home. Oh, we're nearly there yet, said Peaky, Poots and Pog. It's not far now, said Mr. White, and they followed him. Left, right, all the way. Where do you think they got to? Can you see the weather's changing, look? The snow's coming back. Do you think they're close to their home? Yes, home! Please stay, Mr. White, said Peaky and Poots. You can share our picnic, said Pog. So Mr. White stayed, and for a while he was happy. So here they are, look, playing with Mr. White. They had their picnic. They are back at the South Pole, where they come from, right at the bottom of the earth in Antarctica. But the South Pole wasn't his home. He was a polar bear, and polar bears don't live there. Where do polar bears live? If penguins live at the bottom, in the south, where does the polar bear live? Can you remember? In the top, at the North Pole. Oh, which is why he said goodbye, and he walked 12,430 miles all the way back to the North Pole, where he belonged. He'd followed his wildest dreams and had had the best adventures. Even so, he was sad to think that he would never see a penguin again. There he is having a little lie down. But to Mr. White's delight, he did. "Hello, how did you get there?" he said. "And where is your family?" Look, where was the penguin hiding all the way back home? In Mr. White's hat was hiding a little baby penguin. "Here we are," said Mr. Pilchard Brown. "Someone put my egg in your hat," said Mrs. Pilchard Brown. Peaky and Poots pointed at Pog. "Can we have our picnic now?" he said. And although the North Pole isn't home to penguins, Mr. White was always happy to see his friends. "Welcome back," he said. How did they travel? They made themselves an air balloon. And there's Mr. White holding the baby penguin, because Mummy or somebody in the penguin family put the penguin egg in Mr. White's hat to keep warm, and it hatched and out popped a baby. So the penguin family have come to collect him, to take him back to where he belongs with them. Wasn't that fun? There's lots and lots of information to take in this story, so make sure you listen to it every day, and then you can talk about it to a grown-up, and the grown-up can ask you lots of interesting questions to see how well you have listened. Thank you. See you later.